The popularity bandwagon is a weird phenomenon that has existed far longer than I have been alive. This can apply to medias of different kinds, whether we talk about music, movies, animes, or video games of different natures, whether we talk about single player games, MMOs, or even gacha games like what I will be bringing up in today's video. There are a good number of players who will have been playing MiHoYo games simply because they are popular. There are a good number of individuals who do not truly enjoy playing these games, but they force themselves to play them just on the premise of them being popular. Now, for individuals that are playing these games because these games are what they need to play to keep a roof over their head, I'm not hating. Go out there, get your bag. For the other 99% of players in that particular situation who aren't even making any money off of Honkai Star Rail, I have to question why continue to play something if one does not enjoy said product. The only conclusion that I can personally come to at the end of the day is some of these individuals are experiencing a type of FOMO in the aspect of they want to be part of something greater, even if it is at their own expense. Some of these individuals do not like the combat, nor do they like the story in Honkai Star Rail, but they continue to force themselves to play the game anyways. For some of these individuals, logging into the game is a chore. It is depression, and yet they still persevere on through anyways. I have some empathy toward the developers because I can understand how it's hard to separate actual criticism feedback from players who do enjoy Honkai Star Rail or any of the other MiHoYo games, and those individuals just want to see the game be better versus individuals who are just crapping on the game just because it's popular, it's the thing. I had one individual respond to one of my comments that I had made under somebody else's video, and the premise of their comment was essentially 95% of Honkai Star Rail is basically cutscenes and talk scenes with 5% gameplay. Now, I knew that this was a blatant lie, and so I informed that individual that they had opened up their comment with a lie. This person then responded back to me, and I had informed them that because their opening remark was a lie, I did not bother reading their follow-up response due to that. I remember I was speaking with one individual, and a criticism that they had brought up was Honkai Star Rail has a lot of plot holes, and essentially the context of this situation was they had issues with stories being started and not finished within a short amount of time. I tried to explain to the individual that MiHoYo tends to open up story plot threads and they may not completely finish them for years to come. Over those years, they will continue to expand on the story plot line until it concludes. Like Kiana's story arc, for example, took place over about a 5-year time course. This respective person then proceeds to respond to me, and they said that they do not play Honkai Star Rail for the story. So me, at this point, I took this response in context of, wait a minute, you are complaining about an aspect of the game that you're not even bothered with to begin with. So it doesn't matter how many improvements would be made to the story aspect of the game, it would have no impact on your gaming experience whatsoever. It's this weird advocating for something that the individual doesn't care for. For me, the way I quantify it, it would be like there being a fire in the distance and the person not really being concerned about it too much just goes and just throws gas on it just for the lulz. There are also individuals out in the community when they provide their criticisms, especially when it comes to like the presentation with MiHoYo games. It's fairly common from what I've noticed that some of these individuals will start taking personal jabs at individuals who do actually enjoy the story or the combat of the games. Individuals may say something along the lines of, oh, well, you need to actually play a good RPG, or you need to go and play an actual game with a good storyline and then come back to this and you'll change your mind. Or, oh, if you like this, then obviously you're defending this company. My personal take on this is maybe for these individuals specifically in their own realm, story writing quality does matter for them a lot, and kudos to those individuals, that's fine. I can tell you as an individual that story writing quality and presentation are not the end all be all factor for a good number of players, me being one of those individuals. For individuals such as myself, I personally do not care how well something is written, how well something is presented. If what is being provided is not resonating with me, if I don't have an interest in it, no amount of story writing quality or presentation is going to help it. And that's just a simple reality. Let me give you an example. Growing up, I watched a series called Dragon Ball Z, same as millions upon millions of people. Even in the shonen genre, I can confidently say that Dragon Ball Z is not the best piece of written material, even in terms of shonen content. There was a another series that's still ongoing, by the way, called One Piece. I'm not for sure what the viewpoint is on One Piece now in these days, but I do recall years back a good number of people held it up to be a masterpiece, at least in terms of its manga. They were very interested in the characters, they were interested in the world building of One Piece and other things along those lines. Did I try to give One Piece a chance through its animated series in the past? Yes, I did. I didn't care for the art style, I didn't really care for the characters, I didn't care for the world building. I just wasn't interested in the themes or anything of that nature when it came to One Piece. So, in my particular context, I am choosing to watch or consume a product that has weaker storytelling in comparison to a story that has better storytelling, because Dragon Ball Z was a series that resonated with me. It was a series that kept me engaged and kept me interested. At the end of the day, these are entertainment products. Something can be a 10 for 10 written masterpiece, but if it doesn't resonate with that consumer is very unlikely going to consume that product in a good number of cases. Let me use another example. Let's take rap, for example. You could have a rapper who does double and triple entendres, rhymes every single ending word in the ending of the sentence, does rhyme schemes in the middle of their sentences, and also beyond that, they are basically a super lyrical miracle rapper. That's fine and everything. However, all of that lyrical mastercraft doesn't mean anything if your music is not resonating with individuals, if it's not catching individuals' attentions. And sometimes somebody who has more simplistic rap lyrics would be somebody who ends up being remembered far greater. This is a criticism that tends to be thrown toward the late Tupac. There are some individuals that will criticize his lyrics, talk about how they're not that good, completely missing the fact that Tupac's lyrics and his essence resonated and connected with millions of people, especially in a time where a lot of people were not listening to rap and it was not as mainstream as it is today in 2025. When it comes to the live service games, players will tend to come and go. Some very common reasons why an individual may leave a game would be to their real life changing, could be just personal burnout, or it could be because the individual was dissatisfied with the game when they had left it. For individuals who end up leaving a game because they're dissatisfied with it, there's normally three paths that are taken beyond that point. A, an individual that was dissatisfied with the game leaves and they don't look back. They focus on new games to play or maybe even have new hobbies in general. The B section of players are individuals who were dissatisfied with the game, but they still keep tabs on it every now and then because they do want to give the game another chance if it does address some of the issues that push them to leave the game in the first place. And finally, C. This is the group that I would personally deem a little problematic. These are individuals who have left the game, they're dissatisfied with it, but yet they have no intention on going back to the game. They lurk in the shadows, trying to grasp any kind of negative coverage that they could possibly get their hands on when it comes to a MiHoYo game or MiHoYo in general. As the saying goes, misery loves company. Now, I can only give my speculation as to why individuals in category C operate the way that they do. I speculate that one of the reasons may be if they were dissatisfied with a product, they are seeking validation from other players, venting about some of the same issues that they had so they could feel validated in why they personally left the game. In my opinion, I find this to be very flawed. If I were to leave a game, for example, due to dissatisfaction, I don't need to seek validation from other people online as to why I personally left that game. The only other speculation that I have is for some of these individuals, they intentionally seek for MiHoYo to fail as a company because they feel like their success has been unwarranted and undeserved, and they may even go as far as to feel like the company that they play games under should be the company that's getting a lot of the notoriety that MiHoYo has received instead. Again, this is just speculation on my end. I don't know how a lot of these individuals operate mentally. I don't know what's going through their head. This is just my own opinion. Live Kaio is a content creator who has been fairly critical on MiHoYo games, primarily with Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, and to a lesser extent Honkai Impact 3rd. I do watch some of their content so that way I can get different POVs on what different individuals think when it comes to the MiHoYo games. There are some points that Glaive Kaio has made that I agree with and some other points that I don't agree with. One thing that I have definitely taken away from his content is his aggressive terminology that he often uses has started to attract an anti-MiHoYo audience. When he decided to make a post just giving some love to March 7th, nothing inflammatory or anything like that, you have a comment like this that ended up showing up. Now, thankfully, hopefully Live Kaio has people in his community that will call this out and for what it is. This is kind of what I mean by the anti-MiHoYo individuals. Even if somebody is posting something positive about MiHoYo, some of these individuals will still take an issue with it. And I'm sure there are plenty of other examples of this online. I play MiHoYo games because I genuinely enjoy them. Honkai Impact 3rd, Genshin Impact, and Honkai Star Rail are all games that can still receive improvements. These are all games that can be better than their current states. With that being said, I don't view any of these games to be bad games. For individuals who say that these are bad games, I would challenge these individuals to play AAA games such as Concord, for example, so that way they have a little bit better contextual comparison to work with. Oh, that's right, you can't play Concord because Concord is no longer around anymore. In fact, the game was shut down and people who had spent money on Concord were given their money back. I'm bringing up Concord as an example to illustrate that I would personally rather play gacha games that I enjoy than some of the AAA garbage that gets released in more recent times. One final thing that I would like to mention is for every single individual that is playing a game that they are currently not enjoying, as long as an individual is open-minded enough, there will be a game out there for you. It might not be in the genre that you're currently playing. It may be in a completely different genre, or it might be in a completely different generation of games. Maybe there was a game that came out in like the 1980s or the 1990s that might resonate with you. It might be your game. There are literally tens upon thousands of games that can be selected from and played as long as someone is open-minded enough to try out different things. That's really my thoughts on this whole situation. Let me know if you disagree or you have your own commentary. I will be reading your comments and I will likely be responding to you. If you take another time to watch this or listen to this, just want to say thank you so much for your time. You be safe out there. Deuces.